Just like that, we're back on track. Last game was a perfect win. This was as close to a perfect tank game as you can get. Great performance by Montembeault. We outplayed the Islanders, outscored him in the last 2 periods. Suzuki gets a goal, and we even saw some minutes with Slaf on the top line. I'll be breaking all that down and more on this edition of Habs Digest. Hello, bonjour, ahoy, and welcome to today's game reaction edition of Habs Digest. I'm your host, Josh Gosse. Quickly before we get into the video, guys, it's weird. When I ask you to like the video right at the start, you always do, and we get way more likes in this video. So do it again, and subscribe if you haven't already, if you see that button still red. We'd love your support. Let's get into this game against the Islanders, and it was interesting, because this game started out just like these brutal losses we had all along that 7-game losing streak. The Islanders scored less than 3 minutes in on a nice tip from Casey Cizikas right in front of the net, and not a couple minutes after that, the Islanders with a long-distance shot. Monty makes the save, but kicks it right to Beauvillier on the doorstep. Right spot, right time, and he pots one of the easier goals he's ever going to see. And so Montreal's down 2-0, 5 minutes into this game? And so, I kind of looked at it and I thought, all right, well, this game's going to be a loss. Let's see how bad it gets, because we saw some games in that losing streak where we were losing, 7-2, 9-2, 5-1, just brutal losses where the guys were getting down on themselves and the energy was just lacking. But tonight wasn't really like that. Tonight was, at the start I thought, same stuff, different game, whatever, Habs are going to get blown out. But that didn't happen. The Habs actually responded well tonight. I guess they're feeding off that energy from that PK Subban tribute game, their last game, still, because they came out there with a fire underneath them again. There was still lots of effort. Now, while our offense is just not really amazing, I think we were playing with 11 forwards tonight, if I'm not mistaken. But it was man, I don't know. I thought it was going to be bad, but it wasn't. These guys came out. We couldn't get the offense really rolling until later in the game, but the effort was there. We were trying hard, and our defense wasn't that bad. Yeah, we gave up mid-30s shots again, but we're making fewer and fewer mistakes every single game, which is one of the main things I wanted to mention. Even in that first period, we're down 2-0, and right soon after that, Kirby Dach gets a great chance in close. Later in the period, Edmondson had a great zone exit and then zone entry, and it led to a big save from Ilya Sorokin in close again. He really robbed Montreal in that play. But Montreal was getting chances. We were outplaying the Islanders for a large stretch in the second half of that first period. And but the first period, I wanted to take a moment to talk about this, because the end of the first period was horrible. It's our boy. I'm bringing him out again. Almost every video I have something to say about him. Unfortunately today it is very, very sad. End of the first period, 2.9 seconds left. Jake Evans is put out to take the draw against Brock Nelson, who was playing very, very chippy tonight. Don't get me wrong. He did not intend to injure Evans, but he was playing chippy all night long. Off the face-off, if you guys didn't see it, go watch the clip. Well, maybe don't, because if you've had knee injuries or leg injuries in the past, it might be a little painful to watch. But Evans kind of falls forward a bit, and Nelson falls right on Evans' left leg and twists it. We don't know the extent of the injury. All we really know is that Evans left the game and did not return. Brutal news for a guy who had a legitimate case. If I said to you, Jake Evans has been our best player over the last 3 games, you might want to argue some other players like Cole Caulfield or something, but, I think I have a decent point. I don't think you can full on disagree. I think there's merit to it. This guy has been hustling like crazy. He's been fighting. He's been scrapping. He scored a goal and almost had 2 in the last game. He has been the spark plug of this team. And to see him go down like that, 3 seconds left in the first, just taking that face off, it's absolutely brutal. And he looked like he was in a lot of pain, could hardly put any weight on his left leg. We can only hope it's just a knee sprain or something, maybe a mild sprain out about 4 weeks or something. Because even in a year where we're maybe looking to lose, I want to see Jake Evans play, because this dude deserves the world. He's worked so hard for Montreal, and it's sad to see him go down. But I think him going down served as a rally point for the boys. I think they love Jake Evans. They really wanted to win this game for him if they could. Now again, the offense couldn't quite get clicking. It was really a problem tonight, Montreal getting in the offensive zone and staying there. And that is going to get reflected when I get into the later part of the game. But one big issue with Montreal tonight is we could get a couple minutes in it, like a minute in the zone, or a minute with puck possession, but only a little bit in the zone. They'd clear. Maybe we'd get back in, but we couldn't hold consistent pressure, except for maybe 3 or 4 different times, while the Islanders could have long shifts in our end. So while Montembeault was playing well and our defense was keeping the Islanders to the outside for the most part, they had some shots in close, but Montreal couldn't do the same back. And we had some power play chances tonight too, and the Islanders have a good penalty kill, but Montreal's power play looked like it was clicking tonight. We didn't get a goal on the power play, but it wasn't bad. And an interesting note about the power play tonight, our second power play unit didn't have a single center on it, which is kind of weird, like, because Drouin, who's kind of a de facto center, has been playing first power play alongside Suzuki, alongside Dvorak. And tonight we didn't have anyone left with Evans out of the lineup. So it was like, what do we do, right? And Doc's also on that first power play, if you want to call him a center. And maybe when Monahan comes back, he'll play that second power play. I don't know. It'll change. But it was an interesting one. I don't know how many teams in the league don't have a center on any of their on their second power play, at least. So that was cool. But like that second power play couldn't get anything going tonight, so maybe we need a center because Josh Anderson had multiple turnovers on power plays trying to get into the zone. Slaf was okay at bringing the puck into the zone. And by the way, Slafzilla had a great game again tonight. Had some good chances, and even in the third period had some time on the top line. He was really good. He's continued his hot streak. He had 16 minutes time on ice last game. I'm not sure what it is tonight. I'm sure it said it down there somewhere. So point it out in the comments, or I haven't really looked for it. Look at Sam Montembeault, 38 saves, 947 save percentage with the loss. But no, Slaf was good again tonight, using his body. He wasn't as noticeable, I will say, as the last couple games, but it's kind of a good thing because we weren't noticing mistakes. Right, like earlier in the season, we'd say, oh, he made this mistake, that mistake. Tonight, he was just solid, very solid. And they're in the third period when the offense really wasn't going. And it's funny because I had a note down here saying Nick Suzuki doesn't look confident because at the time, he had 1 goal in his last 17 games. He does look confident with his passing, and his playmaking is fine. His skating is still good. But when it comes to like taking the shot, as some commentators have mentioned over the last number of games, when Suzuki's taking these shots that he normally is just like, bang, right into the back of the net, they're sailing wide, they're sailing high, and he's almost a little more tentative to take those shots. And of course, we knew his shooting percentage was going to dive from the start of the season. He wasn't going to be a 50-goal scorer. He's not that kind of player. He was showing that touch early, but we knew he was going to come back to normal. The issue is that normal is he's going to have to go back up to normal at this point because he's missing the net on these shots, and even the goal he had tonight, which, you know, I'm just going to transition to that goal. That was a beautiful goal from Nick Suzuki. It was a great press, great feed from Jonathan Drouin, a little shovel pass to Nick Suzuki, who it kind of looked like he was about to just let it go between his legs to Caulfield, but it kind of got tipped back to him, so he managed to somehow, by some miracle, keep control of the puck while he's going like across the net on his backhand and just like stuff the puck and like shovel it up Sorokin's blade into the net. Fantastic goal. While he was falling, go watch it if you haven't seen it. Amazing goal from Suzuki. Great setup from Jonathan Drouin, who has also been phenomenal over his last, 5, 6, 7 games. Maybe increasing his trade value? I don't know. Because some people might say now, oh, we might as well keep him. He's starting to look back to his... No, you sell high. If some team wants to win, now you got to ship him out if you're going to get a decent pick. That's my opinion, at least. But he's been looking really good for Montreal, which is a good thing. Someone that hasn't looked as good as we'd wished is Yoel Armia, who, after a couple games where it looked like he had his confidence back, scored in one game, scored 2 goals the next, it looked like he was confident with the puck. But he's kind of back, like, he was in when the net was empty with Montreal down 2-1 late in this game, and he did a good job of controlling the puck a bit, but he's not the same Yoel Armia we saw for those 2 games when he scored those goals. It feels like on any given night, we're not sure if we're going to get high effort, high energy Yoel Armia, or, you know, low confidence, kind of give the puck up to my teammates Yoel Armia, and that's the one we got tonight. Unfortunate. You kind of wish that he would be a little consistent, which he wasn't, but anyway, is what it is. But yeah, I mean, that's basically it for the game. Like, one comment on the end of the game, actually. So it's 2-1, of course, for New York. Nick Suzuki scores this goal about halfway into the third period to make it 2-1. And then I'm like, okay, well, there's about 3 minutes left. Martin St. Louis likes to pull the goalie, like, fairly early. I mean, what, like 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes if Montreal has possession. I was waiting for Montembeault to go to the bench. But that same issue I mentioned earlier came back to haunt us late in that game. We could not set up a possession in the offensive zone. We'd dump it in, we'd have it for like one pass, and St. Louis was really tentative of calling Montembeault to the bench. He wasn't aggressive doing it. And I think that might have been a good thing because the announcer's like, oh, why is Montembeault staying in the net? And as they say that, Montreal turns it over in the offensive zone, and the Islanders get a chance to clear. So if Montembeault had been out, maybe they would have had a shot at an empty cage. I don't know. But Montreal couldn't get possession until finally, with about a minute left, Suzuki gets it in his own zone, and he starts up ice, and Montembeault just follows him and goes straight to the bench. Montreal has a little bit of time there, but again, we controlled the puck for like 30 seconds. Islanders clear. We come in again, one shot, they clear, and we just can't get it back in. Montreal was really unable to string together more than a minute or two in the offensive zone at a time tonight, and that is really what killed them, because the Islanders didn't score outside of those 2 rapid-fire goals in the first, which again is a Montreal Canadiens classic apparently, giving up 2 goals in just a few minutes early in the game. It happened again, but after that, Montreal, while we didn't get a ton of shots, again, as you guys saw from the shot totals, we played pretty well. Like, one thing is that, like I mentioned, Armia didn't have his best game, but he wasn't awful, and overall this game was, there's a reason I titled it Back on Track, right? Montreal Team Tank is back on track. We're sliding towards Bedard, as we all hope we get him, because he is, Connor Bedard, every single day goes by, I'm going more into Team Tank. I really want Montreal to get this player. But Nick Suzuki scores after having 1 goal in 17 games. It was a beautiful goal, hopefully brings him some confidence. But at the same time, like I said, it was kind of a perfect tank game because no one played particularly poorly. Montembeault was very solid in net with 30 odd saves, with a good save percentage, almost 950. His save percentage over his last 4 games now, I think, is something around 940. So he has been doing amazing in Jake Allen's absence. Caden Primo is still the backup at the moment, and I believe Montreal has a game tomorrow against the Rangers. I could be wrong. Let me double check that. So you wonder, is Caden Primo going to be, on the slate for the game tomorrow, which is an early game, 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So it's interesting. I don't really know what to make of our current goaltending situation, because Sam Montembeault has had stretches like this in the past. You're kind of waiting for eventually a team to light him up, but I don't know. It might not happen. He looks genuinely solid. The Islanders had a lot of really high danger scoring chances, and he did well. He stopped a lot of pucks, kept Montreal in the game, and Montreal could have easily won this game if we capitalized on 1 or 2 chances and Sorokin maybe didn't make as many good saves as he did. So all in all, a good game. No one played particularly poorly. Montreal scored a goal. It was Nick Suzuki, and we had some good chances, but we come out with the loss, and we're 1 loss closer to Connor Bedard. So I can't be upset with this game. Pretty happy, and I guess we'll just move on to the next one. That'll do it for this game reaction edition of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. We love your guys' support, and we hope it stays long into this year. I'm Josh Gosse. We'll catch you in the next video.